Welcome to the Elite BSC podcast, where our entire focus is helping commercial janitorial contractors succeed. You want a growing company, a thriving team, and healthy profits, and we are here to help. My name is Jordan Tong. I'm the founder of Elite BSC, a company dedicated to helping janitorial companies grow and thrive. I also serve as CEO and one of the owners of France Building Services. France is a janitorial company employing nearly 600 people. Since 2007, we grew from 1.5 million to more than 20 million in annual revenue and built what I think is one of the best teams in the world. The goal of Elite BSC and this podcast is to give owners in the industry a vision of where their company can be and the information and tools to get there. I want to share what I have learned over the years to make this a reality for you. Hey guys, so today I want to talk about a topic that I love to talk about, which is marketing. It's something over the years, in terms of being an entrepreneur and being in business and even in the janitorial industry, I've always found sales and marketing to be the thing that I enjoyed the most. Anytime I had to sink down into operations, or at least that's what it felt like for me, it was just always going against the grain. I could do it, and I had to do it, but sales and marketing is just the stuff that I like personally. And so I get the most energy and enjoyment from thinking about it, talking about it, and doing it. So what I want to do in this episode, and then we'll do a follow-up episode as well, is I want to talk about marketing that works and marketing that doesn't work. And in this episode, we're going to talk about the stuff that doesn't work. And what I have in mind here, too, is marketing specifically for the janitorial industry. So there's a whole wide variety of marketing, and we're going to talk about a few of the options that are out there. And I want to just hone in on the things that I don't think work particularly well in our industry. Now, that being said, all of these, I guess, could work, and somebody could make a case for, hey, I did this at one point, and it did work, and fair enough, that may have happened. And a couple of these might be controversial, and I know some people who are going to push back on a couple of these. But so be it. I think when you think about marketing, one of the things that we want to consider is our return on investment and whether or not is a good return and something that's consistent and at least somewhat predictable. And the first few things that I'm going to mention, I don't think pass that test necessarily. So we'll start with some obvious ones and then move into what I would think are some more controversial ones that people may think I'm wrong about, which is okay, because I am a little bit old school and when I think about this, even though I am a millennial. So the first one, and this one should be so obvious, but I can't help but throw it out there because I still see people doing it. And that is billboards and radio ads. And one of the things you're gonna see over time here, this like a certain pattern here repeated, is there's two sorts of approaches in marketing, and we always when the workshops that we host, we break it down into two different forms, and we call it the rifle approach to sales or the shotgun approach. And one is where you're honing in on very few but specific targets that you want to go after and marketing directly to them. And the other is you're marketing to a big, broad audience where there's a lot of people that could be your customers, and you're just hoping to throw something out there that sticks. And so my approach in the past, particularly for janitorial sales that are bigger sales, has been the rifle approach. And so to me, billboards and radio ads are the quintessential shotgun approach to advertising, particularly old school approach. And I'm not saying that you could never get a piece of business from this. Certainly you might. But it's a lot of money to spend to target a very limited amount of customers that you would like to go after. And so it's not that it could never work or never have an impact. But it's one of those things that I think the value of it is not going to be there, or the consistency of it. So that'd be the first one that I would put off of my list that I would never, ever, ever do in marketing in our industry. The second one is going to be print ads again, I see this stuff. I get magazines from time to time. Print is, I guess a lot of people would say print is dead. I think print is making a little bit of a comeback in certain areas. But again, I think that trying to go out and find where an audience might be and try to market in print, I don't know of anyone who has done this and been successful with it and knows that the reason they were successful is because of their print ads. And so here again, I would say this is one that's not beneficial for janitorial companies. I think it's a waste of time and money and energy, and I don't think you get the ROI that you're looking for. So those two are obvious, I think. So let's move on. I got 4 other ones that maybe grow in controversy as we move on. So the next one is going to be social media ads. So if you are on, whatever it is, Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever, you're going to see lots of ads, and they're often very highly targeted to you as an individual. They're taking internet search history and places you've been and websites you visited, and then they're putting stuff in front of you that they think you're going to have a high level of interest in. And there's a sense in where this is very, very targeted and very effective in a lot of ways. And it's certainly been effective in getting me to purchase things. But that being said, I want to go back to, and again, I think there is a world where this could, in theory, work in the janitorial industry. Again, I am not aware in the consulting that I do and the companies that I know and the owners that I'm in circles with, I don't know of anyone who's doing this and being successful with it, because it is something you can actually track pretty well and see what sort of traffic you're getting and if any of that stuff is converting. And I'm just honestly not aware of that being the case. And I think, again, it goes back to this shotgun versus rifle approach, and that there is such a limited, if you're going after accounts that are, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month or up, there's such a limited amount of those customers. In a small market of maybe 100,000 people, there might be 100 customers, let's say. And that's actually probably a lot. It's probably less than that. But there might be let's say 100 viable customers. Well, that means you got 100 people in a town of 100,000 that you're trying to reach. So it's 0.1% that you're trying to go after. And so it's just really hard to target those people. It's hard to find criteria to target them with. It's hard to figure out what sort of, when you go in and start setting up these sort of ads, you're looking for certain websites they visited, et cetera. And it's just going to be really hard to target those specific individuals. And we've done a little bit of this before in the past. I haven't found it overly successful. We've done it a little bit with Elite BSC, which should in theory be a little bit easier. But again, our potential client base is pretty small as well. And so this is certainly a difficult one. I think for the cleaning industry to be effective. So the next one is going to be paid internet ads. I think so. We move on from social media ads to paid. We'll just call it like Google ads. So paid advertising from search engines, etc. And here again, I think there is some possibility that this works. And I know of, so here's where I know some people that are using this and are spending money on this. I actually know a lot of people who've either spent a lot of money on this and it didn't work, or some people who are spending a lot of money and it's working in a very certain kind of way. And so the feedback that I get from folks when they do this is that, and we've done this some in the past as well, is when they do paid advertising on search advertising, they do get lots of hits, but very often, almost exclusively, they are not the kinds of clients that they would like to go after. So if your company is okay with getting $500 a month, $700 a month, $1,000 a month clients, because there's a much bigger pool of those in any given market, I think there is some merit in search ads, and you may find some ROI there. But I think, again, as you're looking for, you got a more limited pool of clients, or maybe your geography is broad. There's just going to be a great difficulty in trying to target those ads at the right people. Because you think about the search terms that people are using, that you're going to have to pay money for, are search terms that are pretty broad and could apply to a lot of other searches other than the kinds of customers that you want. So it's really difficult to narrow in that search criteria to get even 1 out of 10 people that are the kind of ideal client. I would suggest 1 out of 100 is even more than you can expect. So I've seen people who are going after smaller stuff find some level of effectiveness in paid internet ads, search ads. But on the whole, I haven't seen anybody be successful with larger accounts using paid ads. Okay, 2 more. So the next one is SEO. And this is one I do think that there's merit in this one. So I do not want to suggest that there's not value in this. And we have certainly spent money on this in the past. And there is a very real sense and myself included, when anyone is looking for a new product or service, the very first thing that they do is they go online and they search. So there is certainly merit in getting your website to pop up near the top of those search results. And if you can do that effectively, I think it's beneficial. I think Google and these other search engines, they're very secretive with their algorithms and how they do rankings, and there's various things that have changed over time. They're de-ranking stuff that's using a lot of AI. They de-ranked. There was a time when having tons of keywords like spattered all throughout your website was key. Was one of the things that made your stuff rank highly. Google's now downranked that sort of thing. So there's some difficulty in figuring that part out. And so I think that there's merit in doing some effort in this area. And I think it's at bare minimum something that has to be at least a part of the package that you're doing. But I don't think it should be the main emphasis of what you're doing. I think you need a website and a good web presence. And we'll talk about it in the stuff that does work. I think you do need to have like Google profiles and reviews and that sort of thing. And I think there can be some stuff there that certainly could be helpful. But by and large, I think SEO and paid ads, these two often go together. I think I've seen people spend thousands and thousands of dollars a month and then say, hey, Jordan, I'm just honestly not sure I'm even getting anything for this, and I'm spending $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year on this sort of thing. And so I'm sympathetic to that sentiment, and we've had similar experiences here. And just to maybe a little bit of validation on this as well, I have a good friend of mine who owns a marketing agency, and they do a ton of stuff in this space: social media ads, digital marketing ads, SEO, all that kind of stuff. And I was telling him the kind of business we're in, the kinds of clients that we want to go after, and he affirmed, I think it's going to be really difficult to get the sort of ROI you're looking for doing a lot of this online advertising. He said you're going to be better off going out and actually targeting the very specific people that you want to go after and doing more of a personal touch with them, which I agree with. The last one is going to be inbound marketing. So I say this because I think I add this one on here because I think it's not super effective in our industry, but I think it is a type of marketing that is very effective in general. And by inbound marketing, what I mean is, you've been to a website before. Like, let's say you were searching something, trying to learn something new. So let's say that you were trying to go out and, how do I bid on a janitorial job? Is there something it's going to help me? And so maybe you go online and you find, there's a free course, or there's a free Excel file that I can download that's going to help me put together a bid. Well, once you give your email address for that Excel file, that person that you submitted your email address to knows that you're interested in that sort of thing, and now they're going to retarget you for something else. We do this at Elite BSC. So I give out free forms and some free online stuff, and people put in their email address in exchange for it, and then I retarget them. I think, hey, this person is perhaps a janitorial business owner. They might have some interest in some other stuff that we're doing, and so now that I know they want my bid form or a sample contract or something, Well, now I'm going to start sending them other information, and maybe there's somebody that could potentially be a client. So our aim is to serve them, but we certainly are retargeting them. And there's definitely some level of effectiveness there, and I've spent money by being retargeted from inbound marketing. And inbound just means like these people came to you on their own without you going directly to them, and then you retarget them. So the problem here again is as we've thought about buyer personas and who it is that we're going after and all of that kind of stuff, it is just not clear to me and I'm not aware of it, of the sorts of things potential buyers are going to end up, that they want so much that they're going to end up on our websites and they're going to give their email address or contact information in order to get whatever piece of information it is. So I do think there are some possibilities there. So, maybe if you had like this online pricing tool, or you had, let's say, a sample janitorial RFP that they could use and edit, maybe. We've tried a couple of these things before. But I think in general, trying to put your eggs in this basket as well I just think the results are going to be minimal at best. And I say all this stuff to not discourage us, because in another episode I'm going to talk about stuff that does work and that I'm convinced does work, and I've seen it work. And it's a little bit easier to track and measure. And it's more of that rifle approach. But there's tons of marketing agencies out there, and I get emails all the time with people telling me all the things that they can do to help me grow and double and triple my business, etc. And I just don't want you to waste your money on a lot of stuff. And, we actually do some marketing work at Elite BSC now, the stuff that I'll talk about in another episode. And I talk to lots of people who spent a lot of money in places without any results, and it sucks. And so I hope to spare you from that, and maybe you can save some money and then start investing money maybe in your own team or doing some other things that I think are going to be more effective for you. So I hope this is helpful. I hope it's not too controversial. If we can help you in any way, feel free to reach out to us, Jordan at EliteBSC.com. There's a bunch of resources at EliteBSC.com. We're always happy to help. So, go out there, crush it, hit those sales goals. Don't waste money in marketing, and we'll see you on the next episode. If you found the information in this podcast helpful, please like and subscribe on whatever podcast platform that you're using. If you would like more resources or help to grow your cleaning company, head over to EliteBSC.com. We have loads of articles, videos, free tools, coaching options, and a lot more. If your company is greater than $500K in revenue and you want to take your learning experience to the next level, check out our mastermind group. You can learn more about that at EliteBSC.com/mastermind.